A forgotten warrior, a cursed land. A choice between power and humanity. Wuchang, Fallen Feathers isn't just a game, it's a dark, emotional journey through myth, memory, and transformation. Are you ready to face what you might become? Wuchang, Fallen Feathers is an upcoming action RPG that blends the intense, strategic combat of Soulslike games with a visually stunning world steeped in Chinese history, folklore, and supernatural mystery. Set during the turbulent twilight of China's Ming Dynasty, the game introduces us to Wuchang, a skilled pirate warrior grappling with amnesia and a haunting affliction known as ornithopsia, an unnatural condition that causes grotesque mutations in both man and beast. As players traverse the war-torn land of Shu, they'll battle against horrifying creatures, navigate fractured political landscapes, and unravel the truth behind Wuchang's origins and the apocalyptic spread of the feathering disease. What sets Wuchang apart from many in its genre is not just its theme, but its relentless dedication to narrative and atmospheric cohesion. Every element from quest design to musical score works in harmony to tell a richly layered story of identity, memory, and consequence. The attention to authenticity, indie architecture, folklore, and martial arts styles immerses players in a cultural experience seldom explored in games of this genre. Players may also unlock journals, poems, and folk tales that add emotional resonance to the larger conflict. Beyond the core narrative, Wuchang builds a complex tapestry of mythic history. The world is populated with temples haunted by half-remembered gods, forest shrines sealed by curses centuries old, and ruins where time bends and repeats. Players may stumble upon entire story arcs hidden behind folklore puzzles or ritual sequences passed down in ghostly chants. The game draws heavily from Southern Chinese ghost legends and Taoist cosmology, making its lore feel not only original but spiritually grounded. Books, artifacts, and whispers of forgotten rituals discovered across the land enrich the world building and invite lore hunters to piece together secrets that span generations. Some hidden areas can only be accessed by solving riddles whispered by spirits or aligning celestial markers on ancient maps. What makes Wuchang's journey uniquely compelling is the way it fuses cultural mythology with personal transformation. The protagonist doesn't just fight monsters, she becomes something otherworldly herself, blurring the line between savior and beast. As her powers grow, so too does her estrangement from humanity, reinforcing the game's core theme, that strength comes at a cost. This tension becomes central to the player's decisions and combat style, as embracing the monstrous may be the only way to survive. The corruption mechanic allows players to lean into Wuchang's mutations, unlocking brutal powers at the expense of her humanity. These powers sometimes grant access to otherwise unreachable areas or force alternate story paths, emphasizing how gameplay and narrative intersect through consequence. Certain companions may fear or abandon Wuchang if she succumbs too deeply to these mutations. This duality of power and sacrifice is also seen in the faction systems. Throughout the journey, Wuchang will encounter 3 secret sects, each reflecting a different philosophy on the feathering disease. Joining one provides new skill trees, altered interactions, and unique missions. One might offer devastating poison attacks, but require ritualistic sacrifices, while another focuses on spiritual cleansing and harmony with corrupted beings. Your loyalty to these ideologies will define your role in the unfolding war. Late-game revelations tied to these factions may even contradict initial teachings, challenging the player's moral compass and commitment. Some faction leaders will duel Wuchang personally if she chooses to betray them, adding personal stakes to ideological choices. The gameplay in Wuchang, Fallen Feathers emphasizes reactive combat that demands timing, precision, and tactical decision-making. It's not just about memorizing patterns, it's about reading body language, understanding rhythm, and mastering your instincts. Players must navigate between aggressive rushdowns and patient spacing, with parries and dodges timed down to the frame. The Skyburn Might mechanic adds a supernatural twist, activating in critical moments to slow time trigger mystical counterblows, or even phase through otherwise lethal strikes. As players progress, they can unlock dual skill branches allowing for blending of martial arts with divine powers. For example, chaining a sword combo into a feathered wind slash or launching an aerial juggle with a spirit-infused leap. Combat arenas are also highly interactive, featuring destructible environments, hidden weapons, terrain-based hazards, and reactive crowd NPCs who chant or flee depending on your performance. Some stages even feature environmental kill mechanics or moral dilemmas mid-fight, such as whether to save a civilian or press the advantage. Enemy variety doesn't stop at grotesque mutations. Players will also face human foes, assassins from rival sects, corrupted soldiers, and even hallucinated versions of allies. Each major boss is tied thematically to an emotional truth from Wuchang's past, combining lore with mechanics. One boss literally erases chunks of the arena to represent fading memory, while another mirrors the player's exact movements in a battle of mirrored wills. There are also optional elite enemies tied to side quests known as Sinbound, who only appear when specific moral thresholds are crossed. Some enemies speak mid-combat, taunting Wuchang with personal memories or half-truths, turning each battle into a psychological trial. Weapon variety is another strength. Beyond the usual dual swords and heavy glaives, players will experiment with bizarre creations like magic-infused staves that emit illusions, cursed talismans that draw blood from the environment, and steampunk-style firearms with limited but devastating effects. The Red Mercury system and alchemical currency gathered from fallen elites serves as a gateway to unlocking unique combat styles, signature abilities, and story-based upgrades. Weapons evolve visually and mechanically over time. Some take on traits based on the enemies they've defeated, while others require ritual cleansing to prevent them from corrupting Wuchang entirely. The game's Forge system, combined with spiritual attunement, lets players embed memory fragments into weapons, granting passive effects like voice echoes, visual hallucinations, or combat buffs tied to narrative decisions. Weapon crafting even allows reforging based on player alignment, subtly changing attack types to reflect your growing identity. Rare legendary weapons may also feature their own quests, unlocking backstory and even tragic monologues tied to the weapon's origin. Comparatively, Wuchang's progression and weapon systems are more dynamic than Nioh 2, blending a mix of Sekiro's deliberate pacing with Bloodborne's unsettling visual identity. Yet it carves its own path by anchoring mechanics in emotional and cultural resonance. Where other Soulslikes evoke terror through external threats, Wuchang leans into psychological dread, asking what remains of a person when their memories and body betray them. Players will often face dream interludes between major chapters, exploring fragmented memories that challenge their perception of truth and loyalty. Visually, the game is a standout in the genre. While many Soulslikes lean into grays and blacks, Wuchang bathes its environments in natural light, rich pigments, and organic textures. Players will wade through golden bamboo forests, fight atop jade pagodas, and sneak through scarlet-lit markets abandoned to decay. The use of photogrammetry from real Ming Dynasty sites lends authenticity, but the developers layer on their own fantastical designs, twisting reality into a dreamlike reflection of historical trauma. The world of Shu is built with verticality in mind. Rope bridges, crumbling towers, underground tomb networks, and spirit-possessed airships open up varied traversal routes. Optional mounts like spirit stags or skeletal birds grant temporary access to unreachable heights and grant passive bonuses. Seasonal transformations add replay value, allowing players to explore snow-laden ruins or rain-soaked villages previously blocked by environmental hazards. Lighting design plays a critical role in storytelling, with flame color, shadow behavior, and reflected surfaces used as visual metaphors for hope or despair. The sense of environmental storytelling echoes Elden Ring, yet Wuchang adds a touch of horror surrealism. Giant statues weep blood in remote valleys. Distorted children laugh behind rice paper walls. Each region is themed not only visually, but emotionally designed to evoke isolation, rage, longing, or decay. Some areas even evolve based on your choices, with NPCs building shelters, burning shrines, or vanishing entirely if specific decisions are made reflecting your moral imprint on the world. There are even meta-narrative spaces called Veil Breaches where the game bends its own rules, confronting players with abstract puzzles or looping timelines that question the nature of the world itself. The audio direction is equally rich. Instruments like the guqin and sheng create tension in quiet moments, while boss fights explode with guitar riffs and percussive bursts that mirror the chaos on screen. Environmental audio has storytelling value too. Players might hear a lullaby echoing through the mist, or the hiss of corrupted feathers before they ever see the beast. It's a soundscape that demands headphones, with layered audio cues that enhance immersion and also warn of nearby threats. Certain magical weapons emit music notes as they strike, allowing players to craft unique battle rhythms. Some bosses react to the rhythm of your attacks, shifting their phase if struck in tempo, subtly tying music into combat strategy. There are also sound-based puzzles where players must mimic ancient melodies on ethereal instruments to unlock forbidden vaults. Dying too often in one region may distort its music entirely, transforming once beautiful melodies into tonal warnings of narrative imbalance. In one standout mission, the music syncs dynamically with Wuchang's heartbeat rising in tempo during fear, softening in resolve until silence swallows everything during a boss's monologue. These moments turn standard encounters into cinematic experiences. Other encounters use binaural audio to confuse spatial awareness, forcing players to rely on intuition rather than sight. Accessibility features include dynamic volume adjustment, colorblind filters integrated into spell VFX, and tactile feedback options for combat cues. Narratively, Wuchang, Fallen Feathers invites introspection. It's not just a revenge quest or monster hunt, it's a meditation on identity, memory, and corruption. Wuchang's condition forces her to constantly question what she's becoming. Is she the cure or just another symptom of a world gone mad? Along the way, she meets NPCs whose fates intertwine with her own, a warlord whose soldiers worship feathered deities, a blind child who claims to see Wuchang's true face, and a ghost who insists she's already died once before. One particularly memorable questline involves a shrine that alters memory. Players must reconstruct Wuchang's own recollection of events by interacting with distorted artifacts, with each version presenting a different outcome and gameplay modifier. Later story chapters even challenge Wuchang's own reliability as a narrator, forcing players to confront conflicting versions of the truth. Some players may even receive conflicting endings depending on in-game belief thresholds that trigger hidden epilogues. Every major questline features multiple outcomes, some of which close off entire regions or change the behavior of certain enemies. These consequences stack, creating branching world states that can drastically alter the final act. Players won't just choose an ending, they'll build one, with their relationships, actions, and discoveries shaping what version of Wuchang and the world emerges by the finale. Optional lore-rich dungeons known as echo chambers let players relive key historical events from different perspectives, offering insights and permanent gameplay modifiers depending on performance. Soul threads, collectible dialogue fragments that reveal untold stories, can be woven into the final confrontation to influence Wuchang's fate. A hidden NG Plus mode called Featherless Requiem remixes major plotlines with devastating twists, perfect for returning players who seek the game's most profound secrets. One theoretical ending even breaks the fourth wall, suggesting the player themselves has become part of the world's cycle of memory. Voice acting, available in both English and Chinese, delivers emotional resonance in every scene. The cast includes seasoned voice actors from acclaimed animated series and games, lending the narrative an edge of professionalism rarely seen in indie-developed Soulslikes. Subtle line deliveries and tonal shifts during critical moments heighten emotional stakes and bring humanity to even the most monstrous characters. And PCs have memory systems where key phrases or gifs affect their long-term disposition. Some characters develop entire story arcs based on minor acts of kindness or cruelty performed hours earlier, reinforcing player agency in subtle, powerful ways. The game's dialogue system also reacts to player silence, with characters sometimes commenting on Wuchang's refusal to speak. The protagonist herself rarely speaks, but when she does, the moment hits like a revelation sparse but powerful. Ultimately, Wuchang Fallen Feathers is a triumph of vision and execution. It doesn't just mimic the Soulslike formula, it enriches it with cultural specificity, mechanical innovation, and artistic daring. With echoes of Nioh 2, Thymesia, and Wolong in its DNA, this game feels like the next logical evolution of the genre, fierce, beautiful, and unforgettable. For players hungry for a challenging experience that offers both emotional depth and mechanical satisfaction, this game could easily become a new genre benchmark. It's a haunting love letter to Chinese mythology and a bold reimagining of what Soulslike storytelling can be. At its best, it's not just an experience, it's a philosophical journey told in blood, feathers, and silence. It doesn't just reward perseverance, it rewards reflection, empathy, and curiosity. Launching July 23, 2025 on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series XS with Day 1 access via Xbox Game Pass, Wuchang Fallen Feathers is shaping up to be one of the most anticipated action RPG releases of the year. It offers more than just a Souls-like experience. It invites players into a culturally rich, narratively layered, and mechanically sophisticated world that rewards exploration, introspection, and mastery. For those seeking a dark fantasy epic drenched in atmosphere, challenge, and emotional weight, this isn't merely a game, it's a mythic journey into the unknown, one feathered nightmare at a time.